everyone, welcome to our video instructions for our Twirligig activity kit. For this kit, you're going to need the stuff from your bag, which includes 2 skewers, 2 cardstock circles, and 8 of these strips of printer paper. And this is the brightest colors we had. If you want to make this with more colors or with brighter colors and you have some different paper at home, go for it. You need strips that are about 1/2 inch wide. You're also going to need some glue, some tape, and maybe some scissors for this. So let's get started. Our first thing we're going to do is make sure that our circles have a hole in the middle. So you find the center of your circle and we're just going to poke them with our stick. Be careful not to poke your fingers because these are sharp. You can also do this with your scissors, but doing it with the stick is better because then you know that they fit right onto the stick. Then start with one. We're going to glue our papers onto our circle so that they radiate out. We're gonna make like a little sunshine. Now, don't use a ton load of glue for this. My little rhyme that I like to use with glue is dot, dot, don't need a lot. The less glue you use, the easier it will stick, believe it or not, because if you use a big glop of glue, it kind of slides around. And what I'm going to do to make sure mine are pretty evenly spaced is I'm going to do the ones that are across from each other. So I'll do one, and then I'll do one in a straight line right across from it. And then I'll do one at the top and one at the bottom right across from each other. I think I'll do this nice hot pink. One at the top and one at the bottom. And then, so we've made our square there. I'm gonna turn it and I'm gonna put my next 4 in between these to make that kind of sunshiny shape. I'm gonna do one here and then one right across from it. And you don't have to do the same colors across from each other. You can put your colors in any order you want. This is just how I'm choosing to do mine. Because that's our other craft rule. Some things matter, but for the things that don't, do what you feel. You could even color on these strips if you wanted to before you glued them on. I wouldn't do it after because that would make it a little bit hard, but you could color on them, you could write words on them, whatever you feel like. Ta-da! We've got our first sunshine. Now for number 2. We're gonna do pretty much the same thing, but on the bottom. Huh? You say? Let me show you. So we're gonna start with our pink ones. I'm gonna do this. And if you have a helper who can help you, that's really good because what they can do is hold this up while you glue things down. But I don't have a helper, so mine's gonna be a little bit tangled up for a second. And I'm gonna glue this other pink one right across from it. And then to make the square, I'm gonna do my green ones next. So just make sure that when you're gluing them in the same order that they are on your top circle, because you want them to line up when you put them on your stick. hot pink and my other hot pink. So this is a really fun activity. This is going to become a toy called the Twirligig. There are a lot of different toys called Twirligigs that have been things throughout history. I recommend you look up other kinds of Twirligigs, especially the ones called zoetropes. Those are really fun. Those, you spin them and it looks like a little animation. And they're really, really cool. And they have mini ones that were like one thing and you could spin it on a piece of string, and I don't know how to make those, but if I did, I would be teaching you because they are neat. But this is the kind of twirligig I know how to make. So there we go. We've got our little circle here, or it's kind of like a beach ball, huh? And what we're going to do is we're going to put this onto our skewer. So through that hole in the bottom circle, we're going to slide our skewer. And we're going to rest it on top of the top of our skewer. Now you want this bottom one to be a little loose on your skewer. You want the hole to be a little bigger than the skewer. So what I do is really, really gently kind of push my skewer against the edges of that hole until it's nice and loose. There we go. And we're going to stick that on. And now if you have a grown-up at your house who has a hot glue gun, that would be really good for this part, but if you don't, it's okay. So what we want to do is make sure that this top circle stays put while this bottom circle slides up and down really easily. So the way I'm going to do that, and the way you're going to do it if you don't have a grown-up who has a hot glue gun easily accessible, is you're going to put your fingers underneath this top circle and you're going to poke a hole through your tape just like you did with your circles, and you're gonna tape this to the top point of your skewer. See? Like that. And it's not super duper neat looking, but it's what we've got. And the next thing I'm gonna do, and you can use other kinds of tape for this. Some of the parts of this would be better with a thicker tape, like say a duct tape or a masking tape, but I only have the Scotch tape right now. So I'm gonna wrap some tape around underneath my top circle and just adding that tape to the skewer. I don't know if you can see how that's, yeah, see how that's kind of going around my skewer? So adding that width to the skewer makes it so that this doesn't slide down anymore, and adding some to the top. Wrap it around, stick it down. There we go. We're not looking for pretty here, we're looking for sturdy because we're gonna play with this. So as you can see, I've got the top kind of firmly affixed. If you wanted to put a bead or something on that point, you could do that if you have a glue gun to do it with. And then the next thing you're gonna do, I'm gonna shift our camera a little so you guys can see, is you're gonna spin this between your hands, and it's gonna, whoop, see, my top fell off because if you hold it straight up and down and you spin it between your fingers really fast, it'll squinch up. What if I move these? It's easier to see. All right, it'll squinch up and make a cool, it'll kind of slide up and down. It's hard to film. It'll kind of slide up and down like this as you spin it. Oh, there it goes. It's super fun. If you're finding that you have trouble holding just your skewer and spinning it like this, and you want to be able to spin it kind of like that, you should be able to with these skewers. I got foot-long ones, but the reason you have two is so you can always tape your two skewers together, and that would also work. Just make sure, again, that your bottom one will slide up and down on both skewers. Mine isn't working well because that top keeps coming loose. So I recommend using stronger tape than Scotch tape. But, yeah, there it goes. Woo!